I'm Eric Barnes with the Daily Memphian, and welcome to The Sidebar, a weekly show on the community, arts, culture, and more. Today, we're very pleased to be talking with Olivia Wall from Memphis Botanic Garden, as well as live at the garden. So stay with us for a conversation with Olivia. And a special thanks to our sponsor, Youth Villages. Olivia, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are head of marketing communications for all Memphis Botanic Garden.
Absolutely.
But we're going to talk mostly about live at the garden because the schedule was recently announced and all that stuff's coming up. But we'll touch on maybe a little bit other things going on. But before we get into the lineup, because people can go to that, they can go to that on the web and we'll walk through the acts. For someone who's never been to live at the garden, whether they're coming to Memphis, they've moved to Memphis, they just have never gone. Describe the environment.
It is just a big garden party in the heart of the city. What I love about Live at the Garden is it's not just going to a concert, it's going to an experience. You come, you bring your own picnic, you bring your own coolers, you bring your lawn chairs and your blankets, and you spread out and you listen to some really great bands and enjoy the company of your friends and neighbors.
And so for seating, let's talk about that. There's a mix of seating options that people have. And again, that really, I've done, I think, a variety of sort of seating options, but talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So up front, we have 312 8 and 10 top tables, and those are sold season over season, and they are sold out season after season. And so if you're interested in something like that, we have a wait list that you can join. Otherwise, we have the wonderful concert lawn, and it is just acres of grass and trees, and you can set up wherever you want, and there's not really a bad spot. We have screens throughout the venue as well, so you can choose to watch one of the screens if you want a little bit more intimate view, or you can watch the stage. And it's a great party out there. Folks, get together, they make new friends, they're dancing, they're singing along. It's fantastic. It
is great. I think I've done both. It's been a couple years since I've been out in the launch, and it was fabulous. Ran into some people I knew. They were some other people. All that is really good. In terms of food and amenities, do I remember also though I was buying wine? This sounds like I can't remember because I bought too much wine. That's not what happened. But you were talking about you can bring your own, but also there's some food and drink options there as well.
Yeah, so you can bring your own, but if you don't want to, you don't want to haul a cooler, all of that, we got you handled. We have multiple bars. We have 6 different food truck options on site. You can also do pre-orders. So you can pre-order some food and pick it up when you enter in and enjoy a catered meal.
And how you've been, again, we're going to get to the lineup here in a second, but we were talking before that you've been with Botanic Garden for 4.5 years.
I have.
Came right kind of still in COVID in the summer of 2020, I think you said.
Correct.
How, in your mind, has Live at the Garden changed, if at all, over the last 4.5 years?
Yeah, I feel like we just get bigger and better, and we keep improving what we're doing. This is now our 25th year, but 24th season because of COVID. And so, every year we try to do just a little bit better and do a little bit more for what we can for the experience and our concert goers and our community of, who can we bring in? What can we do?
Yeah. So let's start. June 21st, do I have this right? First event, Third Eye Blind.
Third Eye Blind. So excited about that. That's going to be a phenomenal opener for our concert series. And we're super lucky to have special guest Joy Bomb. That's a support act. So they are a local band.
I missed that. Joy Bomb's going to be there. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So they just recently played the River Beats Festival. So if you were there, you might have caught them there. So we're super excited about bringing in some local talent alongside the big name that's Third Eye Blind. Okay.
And then Parker McCollum on July 18th?
July 18th, Parker McCollum. He is hot country. It's going to be fantastic. He's coming with Vincent Mason, who's another wonderful talent in the country music world. So that's going to be a super wonderful evening in July. Then we go straight into August 23rd, Darius Rucker, which is a tried and true favorite for Live at the Garden and Memphians in general. Just hits so many different folks' kind of wish list of whether they're a Hootie fan or they're just a Darius fan. Got to get all that in there, and he's coming with Austin Williams.
Okay.
And then we kind of just go roll into the fall every 2 weeks. From August 23rd, we go September 6th with ZZ Top, and September 19th, closing out the season with Steve Miller Band. So we could not be happier with the lineup and kind of being able to have a little bit of classic rock, a little bit of country, a little bit of crossover, a little bit of alt.
Right, yeah. So I was thinking about this when I wrote down ZZ Top. I think ZZ Top was the second concert I ever went to in Seattle, Washington, back in about 1980. 5.
Wow.
Yeah. And I remember being up in the stand. So that it's, the Seattle Center Coliseum is kind of like FedEx Forum, but not as nice. And there were just these waves of people. I was up in the stands, and there were these waves of people. It was the first time I'd ever really seen this kind of like, I'm so glad I'm not down there. And it was when they just gotten big. Like, some people won't remember. I mean, ZZ Top was not a big band for their first 3 or 4 albums. And then people my age remember Eliminator, and it was all big on MTV. And suddenly they just exploded, and that was the second one. I also, this is another side note on this that Natalie may take out, but I don't think she should, is I was definitely not of age. So I was trying to smuggle in some booze, and I smuggled booze in. It was Southern Comfort, and I had rinsed out a plastic bottle that I think once had shampoo in it. So I had some very warm, shampoo-laden Southern Comfort at ZZ Top.
Well, that's quite the sidebar, if we should say.
No, I was going to say, kind of just like going to, if you went to Live at the Garden, similar experience.
Similar.
Warm Southern Comfort.
Yeah. And a shampoo bottle.
And a shampoo bottle that you have to smuggle in. So that's fantastic. Yes, can you
pre-order?
Yes, that's a pre-order.
That's a pre-order option.
Awesome. That is fantastic. I also saw, I'm going to do one more story, which is I saw Steve Miller, who opened for the Grateful Dead. I'm not really a Grateful Dead fan, but when I still lived in New York, a bunch of friends were going to Giant Stadium, 70,000 people going to see the Grateful Dead. It was only a couple years before Jerry Garcia died. And Steve Miller opened, and they were unbelievable. They were, I remember just thinking, oh, it's just Steve Miller. What? No. They were amazing. So just, there we go. Two comments on that.
It sounds like you should come to all of these concert seasons and relive your glory days. Is what it sounds like to me.
Should. We may be at some of them. We'll try. So let's, broadly speaking, and again, we're here with Olivia Wall from Memphis Botanic Garden talking about the Live at the Garden. We'll talk a little bit about Memphis Botanic Garden, other things going on there as well. But right now, live music, you mentioned Riverbeat, which sold out at least one of its 2 big days. You've got Silo Square, the area, the in South Haven, what's the Alger Amphitheater?
The Big Plus?
Yes, you got that. You've got, Mempho. There's all this, not outdoor and indoor, the new venue here that's going in across the street at Crosstown, the Live Nation venue. What's your take on Memphis? I mean, people will debate this, sometimes kind of annoyingly in the comment section of the Daily Memphian or on Facebook, about Memphis' ability to support this many different types of shows.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it really speaks to the fact that Memphis is a music city. That is part of our heritage. It's part of who we are. It's part of our soul. And I think, folks come here, whether they're locals or they're from out of town, they're coming here and they want to experience music. And having the city having so wonderful, diverse types of bands and places to go see music really opens it up to accessibility for all. Whether it's you want to take your family or you want to go to something a little bit, more edgy or late night, you have all of those options. If you're a festival goer or you're an intimate venue person, you really have all the options you can in this city, which is really phenomenal.
Yeah, it's also interesting to me. I mean, to some degree, I think Live at the Garden is this. I think Mempho. I think certainly Riverbeat. I didn't go this year because there was too much going on, but I went last year. There's a really nice experience you can have that if you want to pay for it. That is just, that's just part of it. If you are like me and you've stood in the mud and you've been really sweaty and you've had great music, gross experiences, there are ways to avoid that now at these and I think that's good. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Absolutely. It opens it for, like I said, for all sorts of different experiences. When I was 25, I was a little bit more into, I'm going to get down and I'm going to get as close as I can and I might get pushed over and I'm going to come home and I'm going to be muddy and gross, but and I lost my voice from singing along, but I had the best time. So, you know what? I just want a little bit more of a a subdued evening, listening to the symphony or whatever outside on a lawn. Yeah. And you have all those opportunities here, even if it's in the same weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking Grateful Dead show. We ended up in the top row, literally at the top of Giant Stadium. And we ended up on the floor because we rushed 2 gates, jumped over a bunch of barriers, and jumped from the 100 level, a really big jump at the time, down to the field. And I remember running from security cops the whole time. It was crazy. And that was the most, besides Steve Miller, because I'm not a Grateful Dead, I don't hate it. I'm not into it. Then I got down there And then I was like, there's nothing left to do, and I just have to listen to the music. So I went and got some ice cream. And that was my whole Grateful Dead experience. But anyway, that's kind of a digression.
But what a wonderful experience.
It is. Not something I'm going to do now.
But you have the opportunity if you want. You still can do that.
get arrested by MPD trying to, jump the turnstile at Live at the Garden.
I'd come bail you out. If
That'd be very fun, actually. And I mentioned, I forgot other ones that, YXR has its Raised by Sound. There are other ones that I know I'm forgetting. And it does seem like, I think maybe you said, but say it again, the number of seats or people at Live at the Garden.
Yeah, so we have about 7,500 folks total for like a kind of a considered like full house, if you will.
Yeah.
And we have the 312 tables up front, and then everything else is on the lawn.
Yeah.
But we have such a large space. I want to say it's approximately 8 acres that it's very roomy, and so there's plenty of room to spread out. You're not going to get that, oh my goodness, I'm jam-packed in here. You have the ability to really pick a nice spot and really spread out on the lawn.
I think that's also kind of part of the sweet spot. We had Todd Richardson from Crosstown on talking about the Live Nation venue. There's a sweet spot, right? And the sweet spot is not necessarily always 25,000 people or 18,000, although they are doing what's going to be at whatever it's called now, the Liberty Bowl. Isn't there a concert planned to be outside at the Liberty Bowl?
Oh, there is. I did see that.
Yeah. So, and that's going to be 30 or 40,000.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting. The people who are naysayers about the live music, I understand it ebbs and flows and not everything works, but you can go to a show in New York and it's not sold out either. So there's an ebbing and flowing of this stuff, I think, sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And for us, it is about the experience. So we don't want to pack so many people in there that you can't enjoy yourself. That's not fun for anybody. And so it is about creating an experience, not just you're going to a concert.
Yeah. We'll be back here in just a second with Olivia Wall from Memphis Botanic Garden talking about the Live at the Garden lineup. People can get the lineup if they didn't write it all down as you listed. They just go to liveatthegarden.com. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. So people can get that. They can buy tickets there. They can all that reserve the food and so on. Okay. But let me just take a second to do some housekeeping and remind everyone I'm Eric Barnes and this is The Sidebar. It airs on WYXR 91.7 every Thursday at 11:30. Focus on the community, arts, culture, and everything in between. It's also one of a number of weekly podcasts we do at the Daily Memphian, including the Memphis Grizzlies podcast and our food podcast, Sound Bites, which also airs here on WYXR every Thursday at 11, right before the Sidebar, and hosted by Holly Whitfield. We also produce the podcast version of Behind the Headlines, the TV show we produce with the folks at WKNO every week. All of our podcasts are on the Daily Memphian site, as well as iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can get this show, you can get sound bites, you can get all of the WYXR shows at WYXR.org or on the WYXR app, including all the WYXR shows, not just the talk shows, but the music shows, archives of the music shows, so you can keep up with all the volunteer DJs and all the various shows that are produced every single day at WYXR. If you're not a supporter of WYXR, do consider becoming one. It's nonprofit, listener-supported radio. You can do a one-off donation, or you can become a member and get all kinds of great member benefits. And if you're not a paid subscriber to the Daily Memphian, do consider becoming one. We are a nonprofit, the largest newsroom in the area, mostly paid for by subscriptions, but also by advertising, events, and donations. Subscriptions, as much as we wish to say that they cover everything we do, they do not. So if you're a subscriber and you're interested in donating, go to the site and you'll be able to do that. Coming up next week on the Sidebar, we've got it's music time, apparently, Shell on Wheels. So talking about we'll talk some about the Shell and the lineup in Overton Park, but also the bringing music out to neighborhoods and all the work they're doing on that. We recently had Son of Laybourne talking about Asian American and Pacific Islanders History Month and a lot of events that were going on in May and still going on, but also just kind of the whole cultural, and it was a really great conversation. She's a associate professor of sociology at U of M. And also we recently had Pat Mitchell-Worley from Stax and Soulsville talking about all things Stax and Soulsville, but also the new award program that they've got going every year. Behind the Headlines, this week we've got Matt Thompson. He's president and CEO of the Zoo, talking about all things zoo, the new event, exhibits that they've got going on, lots of the events that they have, just all things zoo, as well as updates on the Greensward and the whole returning the Greensward, no more parking and moving things around, all that kind of stuff. He walks us through that. That is this week on Behind the Headlines. Recently we had shows, a bunch of public safety related shows with Steve Mulroy. Then we had Josh Spickler from Just City, former DA Bill Gibbons was on. And we had folks from MIFA and the Aging Commission on to talk about potential impacts of cuts at the federal level to senior citizen programs. We don't do a lot of we don't do any really purely national shows on Behind the Headlines, but this was about the potential impacts of those national decisions locally. But we are here with Olivia Wall from Live at the Garden and Memphis Botanic Garden. Why don't we switch, if you just briefly, like things going on with Memphis Botanic Garden right now that you might want to highlight?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is never a dull moment at Memphis Botanic Garden, and things are always in bloom. Summer is actually considered one of our slower seasons because we are a seasonal garden, right? And so folks don't necessarily want to come out when it's 95 degrees and 95% humidity. But so we do, most of our programming is packed into the spring and fall. Over the summer, though, we'll do things like Flower Happy Hour, where you can come and you can learn how to make a floral arrangement with one of our wonderful local floral designers. We have a new program starting this summer, which is Sip and Stroll. And so you can come out, think of like a happy hour situation. You can wander around the garden, have a couple drinks, learn a little bit while you're there. Our big summer event is our incognito art auction. And so local artists, over 100 Mid-South local artists donate their artwork and we auction it off. It's a wonderful fundraiser for the garden and for our art programming that we offer year round. We do monthly art exhibits that rotate around in our visitor center, and there's usually 3 going on at every given point, so it helps support some of those programs as well. And then obviously we have our wonderful youth education programs, so we do summer camps, we have full schedule of those set to come, and we have our family favorite Mud Pie Mondays. So between
what is that?
Memorial Day and Labor Day, every Monday from 10 to 12, you can bring your kiddos and make mud pies on our mud pie patio in my big backyard, which is our 2.5-acre children's garden.
Have you done that, Natalie, with your small child?
Not the mud situation, but we definitely
I've heard you talk about that. Okay.
Yeah, and then we have drop-in programs like our Garden Discovery Days. So once a month on Saturdays, kids can come drop by with their parents and make a craft or learn something new about the environment. We're all about just getting folks outside in nature. A lot of folks don't realize we're right in the heart of the city, so we're pretty much almost 20 minutes from everywhere, if not less. And we are 96 acres with 30 specialty gardens, and so it's a really good spot if you just want to take a breather and take a moment and wander around. We've got our food truck garden parties, which are once a month when it's nice out, May, June, and then we skip to September, October, and that is the second Wednesday. And we have a local band out there. We've got food trucks. We've got a bar, usually kids' activities, lawn games, all that. It's a wonderful night out. They're 5 to 8 p.m. Coming up, we have Jeff Hewlett and the Hand-Me-Downs will be playing.
Friend of the show, Jeff Hewlett.
Yeah.
And people, if they want to learn more, go to the website.
You can go to our website, membg.org. We have all of our events listed on there. You can, if it has tickets, you can figure out how to get tickets. You can learn about a garden. You can see our map. You can see everything that's happening.
Switching back to Live at the Garden, we went through if people are joining us late, I won't do the full dates, but Third Eye Blind with Joy Bomb, local band Joy Bomb, opening Parker McCollum, Darius Rucker, ZZ Top, and Steve Miller from June 21st is the first show through September 19th. Are you all booking a year in advance, 2 years? Like, how does the booking work for you all?
Yeah, so we obviously want to get things booked as soon as we can, but generally it's about a year or so out. And then we always announce in late April. We like to do a big, line up a splash party at the garden, and then we roll right into our concert season, June through September.
Yeah. And do you have to balance? This is a wonky thing that I'm kind of fascinated by when I talk to people who run various festivals or event spaces. I think we talked with Todd a bit when we were talking about the Live Nation venue. Nonetheless, it's a kind of balancing act. You want to get people booked as soon as possible, but maybe some people you might want to announce their tours later. I mean, so you're kind of in this, I would assume, like maybe even starting now through the fall, there's rumors that XYZ person who has been there before or something has been really successful or would be a great fit. You want to leave a space open. Is it nerve-wracking as hell to do all that?
It's terribly nerve-wracking. It's basically a big puzzle, and it's basically kind of getting things in line. And we really, really strive to have different genres and different types of artists and kind of hit different marks. So it's not like 5 classic rock shows. We want to have a little bit more diversity in the genres we have. And so it is very much like putting together a puzzle, and you have some things that are like, ooh, do we hold out? Do we wait? Do we go with this? Do we that? And then we also have to keep in mind that we have a attraction that is open 362 days a year and that hosts 150 plus weddings a year and all these things. So you have all these moving parts that we're kind of navigating around. And also we really, 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 really do everything we can to get all of our concerts on Fridays and Saturdays.
Gotcha.
Because we know it's better for our patrons. I mean, I know it's like nothing is worse than your favorite band coming to town and it's like a Tuesday.
Yeah, right.
So, so it's all these kind of things we really kind of have to play with and kind of go towards.
Yeah. So you like, if there's a wedding, there's no concert that night, right? Or do you sometimes line them up?
It just depends. Yeah, it just depends. And I will say some folks are really excited.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Some people are like, oh my gosh, that's great.
Okay.
Yeah. So it just depends on kind of what's going on and, it's a lot of moving parts.
You came. I was researching a little bit for the show, and you went to Memphis College of Art.
I did.
That was how you got to Memphis.
It
right?
is. So I moved to Memphis to go to graduate school at Memphis College of Art, and I fell in love with the city. That was 11 and a half years ago. And so I got my MFA at Memphis College of Art in photography, and then I moved over to University of Memphis, and I got an MA in art history there, and then I fell into marketing.
Yeah.
And I could not be happier. I feel like I have like the world's best job. I get to, 1, go to a botanic garden every day.
Yeah.
2, I get to, tell people exactly, something that I love. I get to, really speak and sell something that's like, I truly believe in and think is wonderful. I'm really passionate about nonprofit work. I'm the president of a nonprofit. I do a lot of volunteering. And so for me, being able to have a career that really upholds our community and what's positive about our community and make those connections and try to really support partnerships with other nonprofits to just make the city a better place is like, brings so much meaning and fulfillment to what I do every day.
In terms of working with other nonprofits, I do think, everyone, there's a level of competition, I suppose, between the Brooks and the Dixon and Memphis Botanic and Linderman. You all want, butts in seats, as they say. You want people. But there is a tremendous amount of collaboration and communication.
My goodness, absolutely.
It's not a negative competition.
Oh my goodness, not at all. We have, all sorts of things in the works with collaborations coming up in the future with people like the Brooks and the Dixon. And it's funny, a lot of folks when we'll go to like a botanic garden conference, be like, oh, the other botanic garden in town is across the street from us, Dixon Gallery and Gardens. And they're like, oh no, that must be. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's great. We love it.
Yeah.
We love to collaborate. We love to, make those connections and see what we can do for each other. And I also think that speaks to Memphis as a community.
Yeah.
And that we are all in this together. And we do really, it is the world's biggest small town. Like we all really want to help each other and really uplift the city in positive ways.
Yeah. I think that's generally true of all the nonprofit leaders I've talked to over the years of doing this show and Behind the Headlines. Again, there's a certain amount of healthy competition. I mean, that's fine, but that it's positive. And we may have talked, I think, Mary Lynn Mack, the relatively new executive director, she was on the show this year. I mean, I have no sense of time anymore, but some months ago, I think. Anyway, people can get that in the, go to wyxr.org, go to Daily Memphian or wherever you get your podcasts. And that was a great conversation with her and someone new to the city and talking about the garden and coming from San Diego? Is that remember right?
San Diego, and then previously before that, Phoenix. So
that's right.
She comes with a tremendous decades of experience in the public garden world, which is phenomenal. Our leadership in the past hasn't really had that experience. We've had wonderful leaders that did what we needed for the organization, really getting us into a good financial point. Making campus modernizations and things like that. Live at the Garden. Jim Duncan was responsible for the Capitol campaign that got us our permanent stage. Before that, we were doing temporary stages on our Great Lawn. And so Mary Lynn is coming in with this just incredible amount of knowledge and wisdom to really hopefully elevate us to the next level.
I wanted to circle back to the Memphis College of Art thing because you actually are one of really a high percentage of guests we've had who are graduates of MCA, which is wonderful, but a little bittersweet. I mean, obviously,
Absolutely.
I mean, it was, it's not the only art college. Art colleges are difficult businesses, as it were. I mean, thoughts on your time there and do you stay in touch with alumni and, that whole, it was, I say this every time, but I'll say it again. It was particularly sad that the last graduation happened in COVID.
And I can tell you, actually, I worked at Memphis College of Art up until it closed. So
Yeah.
I was involved in getting that last class through.
Yeah.
And I was involved in pivoting and getting the BFA show on the website because we couldn't do it in person.
Right.
And
right.
figuring out how we can honor these students in a digital platform because at that point we really couldn't do anything. And so, that has really touched my heart in terms of how I, go about the world in a career way and in terms of interacting and understanding how nonprofits and what they do and the role and the pivotal role they can have and the impact that they can have in a person's life. Memphis College of Art was a wonderful thing. I know so many people that are alums in all walks of life because I met them at MCA. It's just goes, oh, you also went there?
Right.
I think it was a loss for the city for sure. I think, out of Memphis College of Art, you have all these wonderful leaders in our community that did a lot in all sorts of creative spaces, whether it's restaurateurs or musicians or artists. But I think there's still a vibrant arts community here. And
sure,
I think,
absolutely.
Things are still happening. And, there's places that really are still supporting arts and really trying to kind of almost fill that gap that maybe we don't have an art college, but we have other opportunities for folks of all ages to connect with the arts on different levels.
And I think I'm right. I know at one point, Metal Museum, which is moving into the building, which will be great.
Oh,
of
I'm
all
so
the tenants
excited.
that could go there, it's hard to imagine a better one.
I was at the groundbreaking and it made me so happy to be like, oh my goodness, there is an organization going in here that is going to love the building and the history and
honor the artists to the degree possible.
Exactly.
And I know Brooks is doing, we had the woman, and I've just drawn a blank on her name, but who is putting together, trying to catalog and research graduates, people who have art from graduates of MCA and do an exhibit. Yeah, I don't know if it's the end of this year or in 2026. I'm not sure when it is.
That's really
I don't
great.
do time and I don't do names anymore. But I know they've been working on that and pulling those things together. There's a thing on the Brooks of people who are alum, and she jokes. She goes, "We're not going to take your art. We just kind of want to know. We want to really catalog everything, and we're moving towards an exhibit that honors all the impact that MCA has happened." So
I love that.
I know Brooks is moving in that direction.
That's
as well.
great.
We're about out of time here with Olivia Wall from Live at the Garden, Memphis Botanic Garden. Quick question I always ask people: what was the first concert you went to?
I went to Beach Boys when I was a small child. My mom took us, so that was my first concert.
What was the first one? That actually was I think my first was at the Western Washington Puyallup Fair out in Washington. We kind of went to the Beach Boys. I was like 5.
Yeah.
It was kind of, I think Robbie Grant had a similar thing. It might have been the Beach Boys. What was the first concert you went that you used your own money?
I don't know. I grew up in Las Vegas, and all of my friends were in bands, and so I went to a gazillion and a half local bands and small theater shows of like touring stuff. So probably somewhere in there, Olivia, between 15 and 17.
It was making that happen.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. People can learn more at liveatthegarden.com, get tickets, get everything on their calendar, and just go to search for Memphis Botanic Garden and they can get all the various other events there that you talked about. That is all the time we have, though. If you missed any of the show, go to WYXR, the Daily Memphian, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next week.